Yesterday, Tom gave my writing hand a massage and my kinked up shoulders. He gave me some tips on technique for massaging. He also told me to stand up straight. My posture is icky. Alfred had a curious dream last night. Curious on the one hand, because he doesn't believe he dreams much. And if he does, it's just his mind running through a lifetime of experience, training, and details. On the other hand, he remembers having this dream scene in some form or other before. He is on a hill, perhaps one of his picnic hills. His body is young, slim, climbing trees maybe. The clear memory of the dream flows jerkily from scene to scene, angling one way then another. His sister is there, and they chat about general plain things. He feels a comfort from the warmth of her eyes. He can't remember any of the words, just the rhythm of the swaying view, the acceptance of everything as it is, perfect, and the massage-like feeling coming from their holding hands. He woke up this morning wistfully realizing that the dream was virtually closed off to him. He feels certain that it will return in one form or another. He's not sure how to set up his day to prime the reoccurrence of this peacefully gratifying dream. It seems to come when and if it feels like it. It seems to show up more frequently during the winter and fall seasons. Alfred doesn't rush out of bed, but sits up with a sigh, slips his clothes on, and goes downstairs. Through the burnished hallways lined with stacks of movers' boxes, 5 high, Alfred arrives at the coffee maker in the study, already running, since he'd set it to start a little ahead of his getting there. The smell of the coffee brewing always wakes him. Though he doesn't drink it, it makes an excellent alarm clock. Hey, I just got off the phone talking to you, but a narcotic. Great friggin' A. I'm looking good and I'm feeling good, and I'm drinking coffee and smoking tobacco mixed with a little of that green stuff, and I'm watching a funny movie. No ball game today. I'm making pinto beans tonight. Onions, garlic, a chicken bone, 2 beef bones, hot peppers, and collard greens are they gonna be fine, delish. Yeah, I finally went outside today to go to the store to get all that stuff that wasn't here, blah, 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 blah. Hey, the president, that Reagan fella, expressed surprise today about new revelations that his hoodlums were lying to Congress. Oh gosh. Today Alfred went out back to the shed to get lumber with which he would fix the bulkhead. He's not much of a carpenter, but he got by putting the cabinets in the kitchen, didn't he? His sister keeps coming into his mind as he brings piece by unassembled piece of the bulkhead out of the shed. Last time they met at her condo in Boston, the Dodge burning no oil down her back. They got along very well, but don't communicate too much on the phone or through the post. When they meet in person, she buys him beer and he cooks dinner, which he supplies and cleans up afterward. They sometimes chat animately from the moment one or the other enters one or the other's home, though she doesn't like to drive up to his house. Other times their conversation drifts into a comfortable silence, enhanced by the traffic passing outside, the clock ticking on the mantel, the periodic hum of the refrigerator, the declawed Burmese cat roaming out of a nap toward the water dish, giving Alfred a look which causes him to go to the fridge to get some sliced turkey loaf. He's told his sister of the recurring dreams of her. She tells him to get involved in a hobby or buy a dog, Alfred, for God's sakes. But she's quite touched. Alfred knows she's touched because first she laughed with teared eyes when he ran through it the first time. Oh, Alfred, don't make up stories. Aside from deep sibling love for one another, they also had a fond friendship. I noticed that I felt kind of hypnotized at the time, as though it had been rehearsed somewhere before without my conscious knowledge. That kind of feeling can be good as it was today. Other times I've soon wished I'd said all the wrong things instead of all the right things, leading me into a kind of a fatalistic belief that I have less control or no control over what rehearsed scene will reveal itself next. What the fuck is he talking about now? Alfred napped on his sister's sofa before leaving at 4 in the morning, his favorite travel time. Albert, you sleep too much, get in. You spend so much time roaming around in your knick-knack head. She was honestly scared about him sometimes. She was honestly scared about the two of them sometimes. We haven't changed one iota regardless of parents since we were kids, she thought as she listened to him creep out of her home. Alfred's rides home were very therapeutic for him. He would take all the pre-interstate routes home, reviewing memories of stops along the way when he, his sister, Mom, and Dad would drive down to the Cape to visit his mom's folks. In his mind, he would work out the differences between his dad and his mom's dad. He would work out the differences between his sister and his mom. A sentimental peace would drive home with him, with a certain amount of bitterness welling in his stomach at his failure to bring a sentimental peace to the forefront of the lives of Mom and Dad and Grandpa. After about 100 miles, the bitterness would ease into an acceptance of the infallibility of nature, of the reality of his car aimed toward his home in the country, arriving home to a rising sun. He has 2 sets of jumper cables, a car battery, 2 spares, and a complete set of ratchet wrenches in the car, just in case anything should ever go wrong. He feels that he has brought a semblance of peacefulness to his sister. After the ride, he shrugs his shoulders and walks inside. I refused to get up today until I had to go to work. I woke up to the tape player playing the Beatles and drifted in and out of sleep till 2:45. When I got out of bed, I felt fine. My body didn't have to search for its head. My muscles were a little tight, and I didn't have time for anything but my shot, 2 neck rings, and out the door. When I got to work, then I took a shit. Alfred bumped his head today on a beam while retrieving a mover's box from the attic. It knocked him out. His nurse visits him, dressed in white, caressing him, making him warm, warmer than he'd felt in years. She was not wearing a hat or any underclothes. Alfred wakes up dizzy with a lump on the back of his head, and surprisingly enough, a lump in his pants. Swell, an unconscious hard-on. Thinking he just made a joke, he gives the house a little hoarse giggle. Getting the box out very carefully, he huffed and puffed to the gazebo to watch the afternoon fade into evening. The box contained National Geographics, a cup and a saucer, an ashtray, a half-smoked Macanudo, and a pair of binoculars. He lit the cigar and picked up the binoculars to gaze out at the fields. Today in the distance he saw 2 youngsters sharing a bottle of wine, a young man and a young woman. They were laughing and kissing and smoking some dope. He felt high watching them through the thick cover 50 feet from the gazebo, making him a bit of a voyeur. They couldn't see him, and he was certain they couldn't care less. What a lovely day this is. Even with a throbbing headache from the beam, Alfred puts the cigar out and back into the box, then ambles into the house to fix dinner, leaving the box out under the table in the gazebo. When he gets to the kitchen, he puts beans and rice on range to heat, then wraps ice in a towel for his lumped head. He notices that binoculars are hanging from their leather strap around his neck. Turning the flame under the beans and rice down, he walks into the living room to watch the evening news through his binoculars. He wonders if he might be a little more than eccentric. Alfred watched the sunrise this morning from his hammock. He moved from his bed around 4 in the morning to the porch to be in the breeze, listening to the crickets and birds and frogs, and listened to the ocean-like roar of the highway down at the base of the hill over the other side of the road passing by his house. The binoculars are on the wicker table within reach of his perch in the hammock. After the sun rose, Alfred watched the cars traveling on the highway through the binoculars. He invents stories about the lives of the people in the cars. Mostly one driver in a suit, probably, Alfred assumes, heading for the interstate, taking them south for their day of pushing other people around. All those suits gonna work, shitheads making impotent decisions. A few chuckles of derision, and Alfred puts the binoculars down, shuts his eyes as the sun's rays are blocked by the black oak, and settles into a nap. But Alfred is restless and decides to paint the bulkhead. Out to the barn to get a suitable paintbrush from the fridge. He brings some milk to leave for the wild barn cats, who all but scamper as he approaches.